All right, welcome to another edition of the Social Proof Podcast. I'm excited today because we have a fitness connoisseur. Would you be a fitness connoisseur? Am I using that word wrong?
Because a connoisseur is like a
It's like
specialist, right?
Somebody that really gets into it. Yeah. And I'm trying to have a whole chest by April. So I'm excited. I'm about to learn a whole lot today. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good.
So, well, introduce yourself to the people that don't know.
Okay.
And we can start right there.
I am DaleLynn, better known as Queen Dales on Instagram, and I am from Houston, Texas. And I have lost 145 pounds, and my story was recently featured in People magazine, Half Their Size edition.
Wow. 145?
145 pounds.
All right. Yeah. So, for one, I just want to get into the mental side of being able to lose that type of weight because I'm having a hard time not eating pasta. Like, it's a whole mental game.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
I'm looking at the menu, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But then I see, like, sun-dried tomatoes in there, and there's something going on in my brain that won't allow me to say no.
To turn it down, right?
Talk to me about, like, the mental aspect of doing something like that.
Well, most people don't realize that a weight loss journey is actually more mental than it is physical. Once you can get your mind around the mental part and you can understand that the journey is going to take a lot of self-control and willpower, then you'll be able to get the physical. Because I thought it was all physical. Like, if I could just get in the gym, I'll be okay. No, because what ends up happening is you try to outwork a bad diet, and you can't.
You
cannot outwork a bad diet. I tried. I thought if I stayed in the gym like 6 days a week and I worked out, I could still eat what I want. I did that for like the first month, and I told myself I wasn't gonna weigh myself. My tail, 302 pounds, got on a sweatsuit at the gym, and I'm like, I'm gonna work hard. I'm telling my husband, babe, I'm gonna do this right. And I go home and I cook all the good Southern stuff, and I think I got on the scale and maybe I lost a pound in that 1 month. Discouraged.
Wow.
Discouraged. And then that's when I realized, okay, I'm doing this all wrong. I'm trying to cheat the system, and you can't. There's no way around it, you know. So
Can you just eat right without going to the gym? Because I really have a pure hate for the gym. I don't like going. No, and when I go to the gym, you know how like people like they feel good after? I don't even feel good after.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and that's crazy because I actually do. I don't feel good, but I've never had a workout that I regretted. But you actually can. You can you lose weight in the kitchen, you get fit in the gym. So you can actually lose weight by not going to the gym. But the toning and the tightening of the body, you're not gonna have that. You're gonna look like. Have you ever seen somebody that lost a lot of weight and they look like kind of sickly? Like they have that. My mom would call it the bobblehead syndrome.
Absolutely.
When I first started losing weight, I had the bobblehead syndrome. My mom was like, "You look like a bobblehead," and it was because when I was in the gym, all I was doing was like straight cardio, walking, and I wasn't tightening and toning, and so I didn't look fit. So you lose weight, in the kitchen, but you get fit in the gym. So yeah, you can definitely just do a straight diet only.
Oh well, I'm from we call that look the drug habit.
Yeah,
They'll say you look like you gotta like, yo, you okay? You sick, man? Everything all right with you?
That one too.
So tell me, because you have to have a strong why. It's not you wake up, you know what? I think I'm gonna lose this weight, right? So I believe you have to have a strong why for anything you do. So what was your why?
Man, I had two whys. One was greater than the other. My first why was my kids. They kept me going through the journey, but even before the kids, it was my sister. I have a 34-year-old sister. Her name's Nikki, and she passed away 5 years ago. January 2nd made 5 years, and she died from something called an aortic dissection. So basically, that vessel that leads to the heart, it burst instantly. It's like an aneurysm of the heart vessel. It's very common, mostly in white older males. So for her to be 34 years old and African American and have this was not very common. But what is common among African American women is heart disease. And high blood pressure is one of the pre-existing conditions that she had that caused her death. So finding out that she died, medical examiner said she died between 8 and 20 seconds. And so the day that she died, we had no idea what her cause of death was. We just knew that she had died. They told us to get to the hospital. We get to the hospital. I go into the room. She's in there. She just looked like she's asleep. So we still have no clue how she died. There's a mechanic working on her car. He tells us the next day that he asked her to go get the part. He's working on the car at her house. He looks around. She's on the ground shaking. That was it. Neighbor was across the street, tried to do CPR. They called 911, but she was already gone. So we're thinking maybe she had a seizure, maybe she had, a stroke. What could have happened? Coming to find out 8 weeks later that the medical examiner said that the shaking was because she was losing oxygen from the brain, because it literally constricted the oxygen from her brain. So that was what was causing her shaking. So just imagine for 8 weeks, we have no idea her cause of death. We're asking her friends, was she doing anything different? Did y'all see any signs? No, everybody was like, no, she seemed fine. An hour before her death, she had just got off the phone with my mom. She had 3 children. She was supposed to go pick them up from their dad's house. It was just a normal, a Christmas break for her. And so when we got that call, the medical examiner called my mom 8 weeks later. My mom called me on three-way because she was like, he's using these terms, I'm not sure. So I'm writing down everything he's saying. I'm writing down everything about an aortic dissection. And he says that they did toxicology, they did all of that stuff. Nothing came back in her system. It was literally because of her blood pressure had got so high that it started restricting that vessel. And that aorta just literally burst, and then she bled out. So the day after her death, the day after her death, I had a panic attack, and I ended up having to go to the hospital again and get treatment, and they told me to get on the scale, and when I got on the scale, I read 302 pounds.
Wow.
Didn't have a clue. I was 27. Didn't have a clue that I had gotten that big. I knew I was like upper 280s, and I think that was the last time I had weighed myself, but that, like seeing a 3 in front of that, insane, and I only had 2 kids at the time. That was my first why. And then as the journey began, and when after Nikki's death and I started to work out, my kids became my second why. And now I have 4 kids, and so each time I would go to the gym 5 days a week, all 4 of my kids would be one of my reasons that day. And then that last day, I became my last reason. So that Friday gym workout would be for me.
Wow.
So that's how they kind of incorporated. But in the beginning, I couldn't, for some reason, I could not seem to make the connection between my kids and my health. It was like I knew I needed to, but for some reason they weren't big enough for me. Right. What became big enough for me was my life, and seeing the impact that my sister's death had on me, her 3 kids, the rest of my siblings, my parents. I was like, I don't ever want anybody to experience this ever. So that became like the plug almost, and that's when the light bulb hit, and I was like, I got to do something.
Wow.
So that's the start.
Yeah, and maybe you can help me out with it. I'm trying to be able to explain a why. You know what I mean? Like, so some people say, I need to go out and be successful for my kids, but we still make lazy decisions where we want to go out and provide, but we just don't want to, right? So I don't know if at that point your kids aren't as important, right? But I'm trying to understand, because I don't think you can force something to click.
Yep, you can.
Right? So can you explain to me that process for somebody who they're trying to find that burning desire, they just can't?
For me, I think the preparation in all of this was prayer, because I was trying to force the connection. I was trying to make my kids be my reason. I was putting up sticky notes all around with their names on it, and I was putting purposes and goals and all that kind of stuff. So I began to pray, and I'm like, okay, God, I need you to help me, show me what my reason behind. So you have to have a real purpose. And I think that purpose, you don't go out and find that purpose comes to you. And once that purpose is drawing to you, then you go forth and then you move. I was trying to make my kids and my husband and all this other stuff be my purpose, and that wasn't the case. And so when my sister died, I got to a point to where I started telling people that her death saved my life. Well, that was because that was supposed to be my purpose. My purpose was supposed to be to go out and share this story. And the moment that she died and I found out her cause of death, I mean, I could be in the grocery store to somebody talking, and we would get on a conversation about heart disease or something, and I would just start talking about Nikki. That became my purpose. I think you can't force it, but a lot of it came from prayer. Just being like, God, show me what that is. I don't think that he necessarily was going to tell me, okay, well, your sister's going to die, and now that's going to be your purpose. But it was like, in all of that, I found what it was that I was called to do. So I do believe that you have to seek it, you have to search for it, you have to do a little bit of self-searching and find it. And also, I think it's timing, too. I think the right timing. A lot of times we go out and we want to start a business or we want to start a company, and my husband, he kind of does business coaching with some new entrepreneurs in the city, and the first thing he'll ask them is, so what do you want your business to do? I don't know, I just want to start a business. Right. It's like, for what? Up. Yeah, for what? Like, find your purpose, find your why. It takes some time, and it does take a lot of self-discovery. Like, why was I put on this earth? And I just realized it took me a while. And this is for all moms out there. You love your kids. You really do. They're the best thing that could have ever happened to you. I know you're supposed to say all that good stuff. But at one point, I started feeling guilty because they weren't my why. But I realized that was okay. It's okay that your kids are not your sun and your moon and your stars. Like, it's totally okay, because they're a part of your purpose. They're a part of why you exist. But they're not the only reason why you exist. There's something bigger. You know, and for some reason, I have a mom that had 7 children and she was a stay-at-home mom. I thought that I had to follow that path. I had to, you know, stay at home with them, and I did it for 7 years, and I was miserable. You know, I always tell people, I'm looking at this newborn baby, that newborn baby looking at me, and I'm just like, what are we gonna do today? Because I was completely miserable. Right. So your kids don't have to be your everything. You know, they're a part of your everything, but if you take a little bit of you time and you start to do a little self-discovery, you'll find out what you were called to do. You'll find out what you're good at, you'll find out what you're passionate about, and then you take whatever it is that you're passionate about, and then you make that your why.
Wow. So when you got on your first, when you started the journey, you had 2 kids.
Yeah.
You now have 4.
I have 4, I had twins.
So,
yeah.
Oh, so
yeah.
You said twins.
I had twins.
Yeah. Because, you know, I was like, there's a pattern. The more weight you lose, the more babies y'all have.
Yeah,
Is that right, Dave?
I heard that. I heard that. And I'm telling people, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. I lost 90 pounds in the middle of my journey getting pregnant with twins. God dog it.
So how was that, being pregnant and still on your weight loss journey? What's that like?
I totally fell off the weight loss journey. It wasn't a journey no more once those bad boys, when I got pregnant with them, because that was a rough pregnancy. 14 weeks in, I was on bed rest. And so, like, I was pushing it. I was still trying to drive and do all this
I thought your kids were 1 year apart. They're twins. Wow.
No, they're twins. Yeah, no, bro. I had 2.
Well, the last 2, obviously.
I had two at the same time. Yeah, at the same time. Wow. So Kyron and Devin are now 2. But when I had them, I had lost 90 pounds. I was like doing really well. Bam, I get pregnant. And then before we find out they're twins, I'm like, okay, I could do this. You know, I could do this one baby thing. And then I found out they're 2. I'm like, no, I don't know if I could do this. And I was stressed the whole pregnancy because all I kept thinking about was weight gain. And that's the worst thing for a pregnancy.
So you were thinking if there was 1 child, then you could still work out.
I could still work out. If it's 2, it's going to be more difficult. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this.
Why, though? Why is it more difficult? I don't understand. I'm trying.
You don't understand why 2 is more difficult than 1?
Yeah, I'm talking about like during the process.
Have you ever seen a pregnant person, 1 baby, and then somebody walks up to them and be like, are you pregnant with 2? I was that pregnant person. People always ask, oh, you look like you're carrying twins. I'm like, fool, I am carrying twins.
Right.
I looked like I was carrying
twins. But some people don't be carrying twins. And it's just.
You see what I'm saying? But could just imagine if you really carry 2 of them bad boys. And not only that, I went full term with them. So they were born, most twins don't make it to like past 32, 34 weeks. Right. I went a total of I think I went 38 and a half, almost 39 weeks, and they were almost both 6 pounds apiece. I was basically carrying almost 12 pounds baby.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I was worried. I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to lose this weight. And then around 14 weeks, when I was having a hard time breathing, and I was having, one time I had to call the ambulance because I was driving, and I just could not catch my breath. And he got there before, help got there, and David was there, and my mom was on her way to, come to me. He had to drive my car home because I could not breathe. Right. So once I realized that if I can't breathe just walking from one room to the other, there's no way in the world I'm gonna exercise. Right. So I got real discouraged about it. And then a lot of people don't understand that the stressful part of having a baby is right after you have the baby. Those first, I would say, the day after to the first 6 months are the most stressful times of your life.
It's called postpartum or something.
Postpartum
My
depression.
friends my boy was telling me, said women get real different.
That's a real nice way to put it. That's a real sweet. I want to thank that friend for not putting us on blast, because that's a real nice way to put it.
Real different. What is it? Can you explain it?
So postpartum depression is a different type of depression. It's not a clinical depression that you would get diagnosed with when you go to the doctor, and which I was diagnosed with, and I was on medication for 4 years for clinical depression and generalized anxiety disorder. Wow. So yeah, I was on, I was on the highest dosage of medication.
4 years the first time?
I was on there
after twins?
2 years before the twins, and then about 1.5 years after the twins, or maybe 3 years before the twins. And then when I got pregnant with the twins, the doctor wanted to try to lower my dosage so that it wouldn't interfere with my pregnancy. And so I tried to cut the pill in half. And I was pretty successful, but I was so scared to harm my babies. So I pretty much went to 10 milligrams, and the highest dosage they had for the medicine I was on was 40. So I decreased all the way to 10, and he was like, well, DaleLynn, if you could try to not be on the medication, I understand if you can't do it. So I really did try. My highs and lows were too much, so I stayed on it during most of my pregnancy. But that's something that I think anybody would have to consult their doctor about. But after the babies were born, I really wanted to get off of the medication completely.
Is it like something like unexplainable, like you don't know why you feel the way you feel, or what?
When you have it for so long as I did, you can kind of start to notice triggers and patterns that are causing the depressive states. So what it is that you have extreme highs or extreme lows. Mostly extreme lows. You start to get into a state of that nothing matters. Nothing feels good. Even the most exciting news, you just feel like blah about it. You don't have any hope for the future. You feel very hopeless. You also experience a lot of physical pain, even if you're not in pain. So you can't really describe it. You can go to the doctor and you could be like, I feel like I have aches all over my body. I have knots all over my body. They check you out. There's nothing really wrong with you. But it causes a physical pain. It got so bad to the point when I had my daughter, she's 10 now, but when she was like 2 or 3, David used to work at our apartment complex where we lived, and he would have to come home during his lunch break and take care of her because I couldn't get out the bed. I was like that bad off. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. But I was also a functional depressed person. So I knew how to, in front of people, I could kind of like perk up a little bit. But then the moment they were gone, I would actually sink lower because it takes so much energy to be like this fake happy person. Sometimes I couldn't. Sometimes around my family, I couldn't hide it and they knew. You cry uncontrollably for no reason. You can't explain it. You just... a lot of people mistake it for you being rude, but you're just in pain. Like you're in just this state of discomfort at all times. And so that's what a lot of pregnant women or postpartum pregnant women go through after a baby. But I experienced that for like 5, 6 years, no, probably 7 years without having a baby. But those are, I remember one time, my daughter, my 10-year-old, was a newborn, and I was holding her, and my thoughts were so bad, and I just felt like God kept me because my thoughts had gotten to such a bad place. I was looking at this baby, and I wanted to throw her. Wow. I was just in so much pain, and thank you, God, I called my mom, and I told her, I was like, Mom, I don't know what's wrong. And I was crying. She was like, I'm on my way. She stopped everything she was doing, and she got there, and she took the baby, and she was like, go lay down, go rest. And new moms, you're sleep deprived. Your body has just gone through like a trauma, basically, is how my doctor explained it. And especially for moms who have other children, you're taking care of these other kids and their priorities and their needs, and then you got this newborn baby. Some new moms are not able to breastfeed. You know, I was one of those that wasn't able to like have that experience. A lot of times you're dealing with judgments from how you're doing things. You need to do things this way. Your baby needs to go to sleep at this time. I mean, anybody who doesn't get sleep is cranky and grouchy already, but just imagine not getting sleep but taking care of another person while you're not getting sleep. You are exhausted. I mean, there were times where I was like seeing stars feeding the baby because I'm just exhausted. And thank God I had have a husband that understands that I needed that help. And with the twins, it was no doubt that we were both gonna get a baby. So he had a bassinet on one side of the bed, I had one on the other side of the bed. But dealing with that depression after the pregnancy, worst experience ever. I probably gained more weight after the pregnancy than I did during my pregnancy. Wow. Yeah, during my pregnancy, I only gained like 35 pounds with the twins, and I think I gained maybe 45, 50 after they were born in the first 6 months. Because all I did was take care of them, sit down, eat. Late at night, I was laying in the bed eating. If I was feeding them, go to bed. Just do that same routine, you know, with 2 babies all day long. It was like, and everybody's telling you what to do. People that had never even had multiples, you need to put them on the same schedule. You need to do this, you need to do that. It just got overwhelming. You know, and that first 30 days, your family and your friends are all excited to help you. They're bringing food. They were amazing, but they got to go back to real life. So after those 30 days, it was just me, the babies, and, you know, Dave. And then he had to start going back to real life. He had to start going to his DJ events and doing the work that he does, you know, for a living. So it was just me and the babies. And then once the babies, I get the twins under control, it would be 3 o'clock. It's time to go pick up the other 2 kids from school. And then on top of that, I have a child with autism too. So it's like I'm dealing with his needs. I'm dealing with their needs. I'm not dealing with none of my needs whatsoever. So that depression it's very real. Wow. Yeah, it's really real.
So going through all that mentally, well, let me ask you, do you still, maybe the kids aren't as small, but do you still struggle with some of these mental?
Oh, man, absolutely. I tell people all the time, fitness did not cure that at all. It just became a better tool to manage it. Just like food was my tool to manage it, fitness is not my tool. I still deal with depression every day. It's very hard some days to get out of bed every day. I'm very transparent because I don't want people to think that the climb to get to where I'm at was just like this.
Right,
it's
absolutely.
Every day. I have to, some days I have to text my husband and say, just pray for me. He knows exactly what that means because he knows that I'm going through a moment. But what I've learned to do is that I've learned to not let it overtake me. And I know, I used to hate this saying, this too shall pass. I know it'll pass. I know that these feelings won't last. I know it won't stay there. Oh man, every day. Wow. Every day I still deal with it. I've just learned how to push past it. I've learned how to pray through it. I've learned how to talk about it. I don't hold my feelings inside. I don't, you know, I learned to spend time with myself. And he knows, my husband knows that when I get like that, or if I get into those mental modes, give me some time.
Yeah.
And so I also have lots of help with my babies. And a lot of people don't realize this. We think that our family and friends are there to help us. They are, but sometimes you got to pay for help. Like good help, you got to pay for. And I got nannies on call everywhere. I've got 3 different people that are in their early 20s, and these girls I can call, and they know how I like my house ran, they know how I like my kids taken care of, and I can call them and say, hey, you available? Yeah, I got you, you know, and I pay them, and you got to pay them good, you know, like this is 4 kids. God knows I love my kids, but these some bad little kids, you know, so I'm like, I got to pay good for somebody to watch my kids. But yes, I get those breaks. I take that time for myself. And so when I get those moments where the depression kind of causes me to sink, there are times I have to go get a hotel by myself for a day, you know, and just having understanding people in your life that help you and that say, you know what, it's okay, you know, it's okay. And then what I typically do is I dust myself off, I get up, I have my little moment, and then I just keep it moving.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're so strong. Like you are a strong
Man, I don't know how
human
else to
being.
be.
Not even a strong woman. Like you are a strong
I don't know how else to be.
person.
I'm so grateful for my upbringing. I used to think my parents were psycho, but I'm so glad that I had them in my life because they taught me so much about endurance and they taught me so much about perseverance. They've experienced so much loss. You know, they lost 2 children. And I tell myself all the time, if mommy can go through what she's going through, I can do this. So having people that you can look up to in your life as your motivators, they don't always have to be your parents because everybody has not been blessed like that. But find people in your life that you can look at and say, you know, they've gone through it. I can do it. So.
I think that's maybe why people are so attracted to you because you've obviously accomplished like a dream for a large percentage of women.
Right.
But you're still transparent and you don't try to hide the fact like, yo, I go through stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, so in that transparency, I think you're going to continue to help a whole lot of women. So tell us what you got going on in terms of being able to share what you've done with other people.
Man, so the idea was never to inspire people. It was always, I wanted to use my Instagram page as a place for me to kind of like a journal. And so like a place for me to document, you know, my workouts and say, I went today, you know, and along the way, it was just like 300 followers. And it was like, okay, girl, you can do it. You got this. And sometimes you didn't get a response at all, but I just was pushing myself. And then it went to, okay, 1,000 people are watching. Okay, now I'm at 18,000 people are checking this thing out. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm motivating people along the way. I was getting DMs and messages. So I started doing, I was getting the same questions. How did you do it? Yeah. What's the journey like? What was the hardest part of the journey? So I decided to start a YouTube channel. And it was just strictly to answer those questions. Then once the YouTube took off and I got like, I shared the video, and then within a week, I think my first video had like 7,000 views. And I'm like, okay, people really are checking this story out. So then I decided to figure out a way to, I was like, I'm getting burnt out just sharing this stuff for free. Because one, I got to pay for a videographer to do these videos. I got to pay somebody to, you know, make sure the makeup on point, and he got to edit these videos because I don't have time with all the stuff I got going on. I got a full-time job. So I was like, I need to figure out how to monetize this thing. How can I make this thing be a blessing to other people, but at the same time bless my house? So I decided to start a company called Be Her Now. And so basically Be Her Now, it's BEE, it's this concept of like the queen bee. And I was doing some research about a queen bee. And one of the things that I realized about the queen bee, a lot of people think queen bees are like bossy. They think about Beyonce, they think about Lil' Kim, they think that they like the boss bee, you know what I mean? And so I started doing research about it, and I realized that queen bees are not necessarily bossy, they're motherly. They have a very motherly instinct. They're the mother of the hive. And I started looking into they are responsible, they're unique, they're driven, and they're focused. And I started putting pieces together as to why they are. And so that was the kind of the concept that I wanted women to be able to be more than just boss bees in the world, you know, but I wanted them to be like own that mother figure, even if you don't have children, but you can own that ability, because I think as women, we all have that motherly instinct in us to be able to nurture and to care for people. And so that's where the concept of Be Her Now came from. And it's just encouraging women to be who they were created to be now. So we do that through different avenues. I have an 8-week training program, online program. And the reason why I did that was because when I started with my trainer in 2017, after the boys were born, they were like 6 months when I started. The first 8 weeks on his program, I think I lost like 20 pounds.
Wow.
And then I did another 8 weeks. I did 3 sets of 8 weeks with him, and I was down 60 pounds. So I'm like, okay, I never met with the trainer, but I did everything he told me to do. I ate like he told me to do. And as long as I stayed focused and did exactly what he said, I lost the weight.
Right.
So I decided to do that. So we have an 8-week training program. We also have meal prep online. I do something called Be Her Now Fit Camp. So I do that twice a week. I do that Mondays and Wednesdays, 5 a.m. or 7 p.m. So the women can come, or men too, but they can come and they can work out with me. And I just show them some of the stuff that I learned. I show them some techniques. And not only do we work out, but in the beginning of our workout, we share. So we talk for like maybe 5 minutes, and one session can be about expectation. Right. We talk about looking on Instagram, and you can see some women do workout videos, and they smiling in the videos, and you're like, no, that hurts. That workout really does hurt. Why are you cheesing so hard in this video? Right. So we talk about expectations and setting realistic goals, little things like that. And it's just, like I said, encouraging women to be who they were created to be now. So we've got merchandise online. We've got, I'm rocking my Be Her Now backpack today. We've got phone cases. It's just a constant reminder. I even went and got my little Be Her Now right here, just a reminder. And my mom hates it. She's like, why you gotta be a coloring book? Why you couldn't get a necklace? And I was like, because I wanted it on my wrist. But it's just a reminder to be who God created me to be right now.
Wow. So some of the women that you help and encourage,
yeah.
What are the central themes that you see that they're all dealing with, for the most part?
Woo! Number one, hopelessness. Just feeling hopeless. Just feeling like I have no help. That's why I started Be Her Now, because I didn't have anybody in my corner that I felt like understood where I was coming from. Everybody feels so hopeless. Everybody feels like this is their last straw. They feel like they've tried everything else. And it doesn't matter if they need to lose 20 pounds. I've got a client that needs to lose about 200 pounds. She's 407 pounds. And she saw me on TV from this show called Great Day Houston in Houston, and she called me up, and I have an online consultation, a free consultation. So she called me for her 30-minute consult, and I'm asking her, how'd you hear about me? How'd you hear? She was like, I'm watching you on Great Day Houston, and I felt so much hope. Like I felt like this girl can do this, I can do this. And she got this going on, that going on, I can do this. And then I got another call from another lady, 375 pounds, watched the same show. I'm ready. Like they just get this sense of, there's a scripture that says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. And I think that when people feel hopeless, you begin to kind of feel physically sick. Like you feel like I don't have an option. And so I think the common theme for so many women, they feel like, I can't do this. That's too big of 145 pounds, or like you said in the beginning, like just trying to stay away from pasta seems, impossible for some people. I think hopelessness is the biggest thing, and I love giving people that feeling of hope. Yeah. Because I'm like, they're like, can I do this? Yeah, you can do this. I got you. So yeah, I think that's the biggest hurdle.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you feel pressure to continue to go on your journey, because you got so many eyes on you now, right?
Yeah.
And if you do feel that pressure, well, first off, do you feel pressure to continue?
Yeah, but it's a good pressure. It's accountability. Right. I'm really big on accountability. I can't do it by myself. So I need all 18,000 of those eyes plugged on me, checking me, making sure that I'm good. Right. It's a good pressure though. I don't feel it in a negative way. Like if I fall off the wagon or if I gain weight, they're gonna be like, oh, she couldn't do it. Because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna gain a couple pounds. I mean, that's just life. You know, you start, you stop. I'm not always motivated to go to the gym. I don't always like to. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have some ups and downs, and I'm prepared for them. Right. So yeah, it's a good pressure.
So you in magazines and the radio shows and TV shows, things of that nature, because you're giving people so much hope, right? So even if you become average, I'm talking about like you get to a comfortable place where maybe not going up to where you were, but you get to a comfortable place where you're comfortable. Would that be enough for you, or do you feel like you have to continue to like put your story out there to provide more hope?
It's never enough. I've always been that person. So when I gained the weight and I lost who that person was, I didn't know that person for 7, 8 years because I never was an overweight person. I've always been extremely driven. As a child, my goals were like so way higher. People were like, oh, that's good. I'm glad you want to be a lawyer, and I'm glad you want to do that. Like I've always had like these crazy aspirations, crazy dreams. And I think even now as an adult, I still have that. I still have these crazy dreams, crazy goals, and nothing is ever enough for me. I'm never happy. I'm happy, but I'm never satisfied, should I say. I'm never just good, like, oh, I'm doing great. And I think that's what keeps me driven. That's what keeps me going. People can clap and tell me how great I'm doing and how awesome. And, ooh, girl, I've actually had friends and family like, ooh, you made it. And I'm like, bruh, I don't believe I've made it until I don't have to go back to work on Monday and clock in and go to my job. Like, and even then, I'm trying to figure out what's the next step. Like, I'm always pushing myself for something greater, because not everybody knows who I am. Not everybody has heard my story, and I can't stop until I feel like enough people have heard my story. Not that I'm just this great, amazing person, but I feel like we are blessed to be a blessing. We have this story, like, we overcome. And I'm gonna keep overcoming by sharing my testimony, by talking. And so that's kind of how I look at it. I gotta keep talking about it, because the only way I'll stay present in this moment and going to the gym and moving is if I keep talking about it. The moment I stop talking about it and I get comfortable and I get complacent, I believe the weight's gonna creep back up. Because I'm gonna always be a food addict. I'm gonna always want to cope with
You're
food.
still a foodie?
Oh man, am I? We were just talking about what we eat in the ATL. Like, that's what we're looking forward to. We got another interview after this. What are we eating in between the interviews? Where are we going? Yes, God, I love food. Because I mean, I'm from the South, so like, we grieve with food. You know, everybody excited. I'm telling my mama about some good going. Girl, let's go out to eat and talk about it. I'm like, no, mama, no. So yeah, like, no, I'm a foodie at heart for sure.
So what is your regimen? What is your plate look like?
So according to page 61, I've been ready to just pull this bad boy out and dust it out. It says right here.
Hold on, now in People Magazine, you gotta open it up. Yeah, just let them know what's happening.
The January 14th edition of People Magazine on page 61. Now I have a list of some things that I eat here, but like I try to get at least a half a gallon of water. A lot of people walk around with this big gallon. That's so unrealistic for me. I'm not gonna go walk around peeing all day. I'm not. That's just not me. But for breakfast, I'll do like a cup of oatmeal, a teaspoon of brown sugar, and instead of using milk to kind of get that creaminess, I'll use Premier Protein. It's a protein shake, so I'll just add that to it. And then for snack, I'll have some more of the protein with some grapes. For lunch, I'll do a bell pepper stuffed with grilled chicken, corn, black beans, and salsa. For snack, I'll have a cheese stick. And then for dinner, ground turkey spaghetti with spaghetti sauce. And instead of regular noodles, I'll do zucchini noodles.
Gotcha.
So
it's not the same.
It's not, but let me tell you something. I
love pasta.
I eat. A lot of people are like, can you eat? I eat.
Yeah.
I have to, because I live such a hectic, busy life. I eat like 5 times a day. So I'm never starving myself. I'm never without. I have snacks in my bag. I got water in my bag. I always have some type of, because if you don't plan, you'll fail. And you'll just grab the nearest junk. So yeah, I eat. It's not the same. I know. But
it's never been the same.
But I still eat I still eat pasta though.
You still eat pasta?
Oh,
okay.
For sure. For sure. These pasta thighs, yeah. No, for sure. But when I do eat it, I only eat it like once a week. So I eat one big meal on Sundays, because that's like our family day on Sunday. So I'll eat whatever is that big meal my mama prepared. If it's spaghetti or whatever it is, I'll eat that one big meal. So yeah, for sure.
That's dope. So you have like a balance, you know, because some people are like super strict, but it doesn't. It seems like you have the discipline, but you're not about to starve yourself.
Let me tell you something about the super strict people. The super strict people are the ones that binge eat when nobody's looking. I promise you, because nobody can go without cravings. Our body naturally, once you have ingested some of the sugars and the things that we have in our palate and our diet, our bodies naturally want that. And so you can curb it by doing different things and eating different things, but I guarantee you, most of the time, people that who profess to be these super strict eaters, and you never see them have a cheat meal, you never see them like indulge in any of their favorites, they're the ones that are binge eating when the cameras are off and Instagram's off. I'm telling you. And the number one reason is because you got to keep this facade up and you got to keep this healthy regimen up. But nobody eats like that 100% of the time. I would say 90% you can do it, but 100, no.
Gotcha. Okay. No. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go have some pasta after this, and then have a salad.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Balance. You know what I'm saying? Balance. A little salad on the side.
All I'm asking is that you recommend a couple of good spots for me, because I can't leave ATL without eating good.
I got you. Okay.
Just a couple good spots. I want a spot that's gonna make me want to nap afterwards.
Okay. I got a couple.
I might walk around the airport tonight a couple times, but I want a good spot that's gonna make me want a good nap.
Gotcha.
Something tells me you know a couple of them.
I know a few. Because I am also a creature of habit.
Yeah.
So I like what I like, So when I go to Copeland's, I get the same thing every time.
What do you eat there?
Oh, the chicken parmesan.
Ooh.
That thing's crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think you were a fatty in another life.
Oh man, I'm actually I started putting on weight, and I'm starting to go to the gym now because I mean it was I think my metabolism, because I used to be able to just eat whatever I want
But
and I'm
age,
good.
you notice that the older we get, our metabolism starts to slow down a little bit, and it sits all right here. That pasta's sitting all right there.
Oh, it's sitting, but I'm getting back. I'm not eating as much pasta.
Yeah.
At least I'm conscious of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm conscious of
Well,
it.
that is kind of step one, is it's being conscious. Step two is do something about it.
Right.
You know, because I was conscious for a long time.
Right.
I knew I was fluffy for a long time. Right. But doing something about it, I think, is what's coming.
Every now and again, I make the decision, like, oh, do I get the pasta or do I get the, you know what? I'm just not going to get the pasta. And I celebrate myself. And I'm a desserty. I'm a desserty.
Oh,
okay?
I got a sweet tooth out of this world.
I love dessert.
Oh, man, I got a crazy
But
sweet tooth.
for the last maybe 2 months, I haven't picked up a dessert.
What's
I'm
your
proud
favorite
of me.
dessert?
Cheesecake.
Oh, peach cobbler.
Oh,
Ice cream.
cheesecake or strawberry shortcake. Or a peach cobbler, or if I just find something that's just exclusive. R. Thomas has this, well, I don't think they have it anymore. It was a mango pie.
See, no.
Can we switch? We got to talk about something different, because
Mango is fruit. I don't want nothing that got fruit attached to it. No, peach cobbler is too. But peach cobbler, oh man, a warm peach cobbler with some bluebell vanilla ice cream.
See, I'm not heavy chocolate. I like the fruit.
Ooh.
Strawberry shortcake, all that.
I like cheesecake.
Yeah, I'm into cheesecake. Every different kind.
Yeah, go to Cheesecake Factory and look at that long list of cheesecake.
You go in the glass and look at what's going on.
Just be lusting over cheesecake.
We're sorry for everybody who's watching this trying to be inspired.
I'm
to
telling
lose weight.
you, balance.
Okay?
Balance.
Yes. I got 2 questions for you. Two more. One, I like to make predictions.
Yeah.
I just want to know where you're going, where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years, just so we can look back at this video and say, wow, Dale said she was going to do that 5 years ago, and look at her, she's doing it. So what can you say right now that you believe you're going to be doing 5 to 10 years?
I want to be taking this thing globally. I already have plans to go. So I used to do mission trips to Brazil. So I kind of want to take this. I'm a worship leader, right? So I used to think that leading worship was going to be the avenue or the vehicle which I would share my story of depression, anxiety, and how I was, healed from all of that. And then one day when I was doing this, all of these interviews and stuff, it hit me. I was like, this is a bigger platform, because everybody's not going to go to church. Everybody's not going to listen to a sermon. Everybody's not going to sit through a worship service. But to be able to share my story like this, and it's so easy to do because it's mine and it's real and it's authentic, and so I can just, it's like a conversation. I'm just talking about my life, and so who doesn't like talking about themselves anyway? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I can see myself in 5 to 10 years just doing this, just taking this thing and just continually sharing my story. Again, fitness and weight loss is just the vehicle that I chose to go in and to use it, and so on my website and even on my Instagram, it's about fitness, faith, fashion, and family. So using all of those avenues to inspire people, and not just women, but just inspire people in general. So I can definitely see myself just staying on this course, but using those different avenues, fashion, showing women how to be modest and how to dress for your body type, and faith, and using my faith to inspire people, and family, talking about my kids, talking about the ups and downs of marriage, the ups and downs of parenting, everything is real. It's like the real side of parenting, the real side of it all. Right. So that's what I could see myself doing in the next 5 to 10 years, staying on this journey, but using those different avenues to kind of share my story.
Gotcha. So lastly, there is somebody that's watching this right now that they've been on the journey. I mean, they've tried it, failed. They've been inspired, then they uninspired. What can you tell that person right now that's watching it, they've just been through this? This ain't their first rodeo.
This is probably like my 15,000th rodeo with this process. I will say that motivation does not last. And that's okay, because right now you're watching this and you're feeling like, I'm motivated. She's got me motivated. She's got me inspired. When the motivation fails, what needs to kick in is discipline. Discipline is doing what you need to do when you don't want to do it. And so those days that you don't feel like getting to the gym, those days you don't feel like meal prepping, those days you don't feel like taking care of those kids, do it anyway. be her now. Just do it right now. Don't tell yourself, I'm going to do it, I'm going to get up. No, just get up and go do it right now, because you're not going to always feel motivated. But you'll never regret the decision to do it. You'll never regret. I know we joked and talked about working out, but I've never had a workout that after I finished, I was mad about doing it. I may not have liked it the whole way through. Even with my trainer, he and I were talking just yesterday, and I told him, I was like, one of my friends was like, you don't get excited when you finish working out with him? I was like, no. Every time me and him finish working out, I walk out and I don't even say bye. And he don't get mad or nothing. He'll be like, bye, Dale, I'll see you tomorrow. And I'm just like, I don't say bye to him or nothing. I just walk out. But I still don't regret the workout. So just do it. You will love yourself because of it. There were so many times on my journey I thought that if I made everybody else happy, if I cooked a certain way, if I did this for my husband a certain way, if I did this for my kids, I would be happy. I did not find happiness until I started taking care of myself, because that's real fulfillment. And I could not stick to nothing. Like, I couldn't finish college. I couldn't finish, a plan, a workout. And I just felt like a failure. Like, why can't I stick to anything? And the moment I stuck to this, I felt like a better person, because I feel like I can do this. And when you get the weight under control, it's a small portion of your life, but if you can get that under control, something in your brain clicks, and you're like, I could do pretty much anything. So I went back to school. I'm a personal trainer now. I got my certification to be a personal trainer. And my trainer was like, why do you want to do this again? I was like, not so that I could train other people, but I wanted to learn more about the body. I wanted to learn more about what I was doing for myself. So I believe that even if you're sitting here and you're watching it and you're thinking to yourself, I can't do that. That's too much. Or you're watching and you're going, I'm super motivated. I'm excited. Okay, now where do I start? Just start. Just do it. Kick in that discipline and keep going. And that moment you feel like you're going to stop, nope, tell yourself, I've stopped too many times. I'm going to keep going. And don't wait for an aha moment. Just do it.
And I guess they can start by joining your program. So close it out by telling everybody what you do, who you are, how they can find you.
So you can find me at Be Her Now. That's BEEHerNow.com. And you go online and you can sign up for an 8-week training program. You can get a free consultation, a 30-minute consultation with me. If you just want to talk it out and just figure out what's your next goals, or what are your next goals, or what's your next plan, you can do that online as well. You can also reach me at Instagram at Queen Dales. That's QueenDalez. I'm pretty sure you'll see it somewhere down here. And so you can do that as well. But the easiest way to reach me is at info@BeHerNow.com.
Yeah, she's taking all bookings, speaking gigs, coaching clients. So make sure you hit her up. Thank you so much. You inspired me. I'm about to go. I'm hungry now, so I'm about to go eat.
It's lunchtime. It's time to go
definitely
eat.
lunchtime. So thank you so much, man. Make sure y'all follow her, all right? Peace.